In the world of modern celebrity branding, public image is rarely built on a single interview, a single photograph, or even a single controversy, because in an age where every expression is analyzed, every statement is replayed, and every silence becomes its own headline, the real battle is never about appearances alone, but about who controls the story. And when June 4th suddenly became one of the most discussed dates in royal commentary, many viewers believed they were about to watch a harmless lifestyle conversation, yet what unfolded instead raised a far deeper question. Was this simply a brand launch, or the opening move in something much bigger? For millions of viewers across the United Kingdom, the United States, Australia, and beyond, the anticipation surrounding Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, was already building long before the cameras ever began rolling, because Meghan Markle had spent months carefully shaping a new public identity, one built around wellness, simplicity, California living, premium ingredients, and the image of a woman who had supposedly stepped away from royal pressure to embrace authenticity on her own terms. Yet from the very first minutes of that interview, something felt unusually different, and even longtime supporters of Meghan Markle began noticing that the tone was less about lifestyle inspiration and more about carefully controlled narrative positioning. But something didn't add up. Because while Meghan Markle spoke about organic routines, natural living, and the importance of personal reinvention, another name quietly began re-entering the conversation, and that name was Catherine, Princess of Wales, also known around the world as Kate Middleton, the woman whose quiet consistency has become one of the strongest pillars of the modern monarchy. And the moment Catherine, Princess of Wales, entered the conversation, royal watchers immediately understood that this was no longer simply a discussion about skincare, branding, or California wellness culture. This was becoming something far more strategic. And that raises an important question for you. If a public figure truly wants to move on from the royal family, why do royal names continue to appear at the most important moments of every new reinvention? That question alone began spreading across social media within minutes, because Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, have spent years building an image based on stability, duty, and controlled public service, while Meghan Markle and Prince Harry have built an entirely different public narrative, one centered around openness, emotional truth, independence, and breaking from tradition. Neither approach is automatically right or wrong, yet when those two worlds collide, the result almost always creates headlines powerful enough to dominate global conversation. And on June 4th, that collision appeared to happen once again. Royal commentators began pointing out that Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, seemed increasingly confident, increasingly polished, and increasingly determined to redefine not just her future, but the way audiences interpret her past. Some reports suggested that Meghan Markle wanted this interview to mark the beginning of a new era, one where Meghan Markle would no longer be viewed primarily through the lens of Prince Harry, Buckingham Palace, or royal drama, but instead as a standalone global lifestyle authority. Yet palace insiders, at least according to several entertainment reports, began quietly asking a different question. Was Meghan Markle truly building something new? Or was Meghan Markle still defining success through comparison with the institution she once left behind? And this is where everything changes. Because the moment viewers started comparing the public journeys of Meghan Markle and Catherine, Princess of Wales, the contrast became impossible to ignore. Catherine, Princess of Wales, had spent more than a decade standing beside Prince William, attending state functions, representing the monarchy, supporting King Charles III, and slowly becoming one of the most trusted figures inside the royal family. Meanwhile, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, had chosen a path built around independence, global media, documentaries, podcasts, interviews, and now lifestyle branding. Two women, two strategies, two completely different relationships with public attention. And yet somehow, their stories remain permanently connected. Do you think that connection is coincidence? Or strategy? That question continued gaining momentum, because Prince William, the future king, has always represented institutional continuity, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, has become the public face of quiet discipline, while Prince Harry continues to represent emotional conflict, personal struggle, and the complicated reality of leaving a centuries-old institution while still remaining connected to it by blood, history, and public memory. And according to royal analysts, this emotional triangle, Prince William, Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle, may still be one of the most powerful storytelling engines in modern celebrity culture. But what happened next raised even bigger questions. Because while social media clips from the interview continued spreading, online discussions quickly shifted away from wellness products, beauty routines, or branding language, and instead focused on perception, authenticity, and identity. Some viewers praised Meghan Markle for confidence. Some viewers defended Catherine, Princess of Wales. Some viewers questioned whether Prince Harry fully understood the long-term consequences of separating from Prince William and the monarchy in such a public way. And in the middle of all of that stood King Charles III. King Charles III, the monarch tasked with preserving institutional stability during one of the most emotionally complicated chapters in royal history, has faced growing speculation about succession, family healing, and the long-term image of Buckingham Palace. Every new interview, every new headline, every new media appearance involving Prince Harry or Meghan Markle creates new conversations about legacy, succession, and the future direction of the royal family. And if you were King Charles III, how would you handle that pressure? Would you protect the institution or repair the family? That question sits at the heart of this entire story, because for Prince William, the future king, every public controversy involving Prince Harry or Meghan Markle eventually circles back to the same issue: leadership. Prince William understands that the monarchy does not survive on headlines alone. The monarchy survives on consistency, symbolism, and public trust. And that may explain why Catherine, Princess of Wales, remains so central to this evolving narrative. Because while Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, continues reinventing herself through media, branding, and global storytelling, Catherine, Princess of Wales, continues doing something far quieter: showing up, serving, smiling, and saying very little. And in modern media, silence can sometimes be louder than any interview. But that wasn't the real issue. Because as June 4th continued dominating conversation, another uncomfortable reality began emerging. This story was no longer just about Meghan Markle, Catherine, Princess of Wales, Prince Harry, or Prince William. This story was becoming about public memory. Who remembers what really happened? Who controls what gets repeated? And who ultimately gets believed? Because in a world where every platform demands constant reinvention, perhaps the greatest power is not speaking louder. Perhaps the greatest power is never needing to explain yourself at all. And as Prince William, the future king, Catherine, Princess of Wales, King Charles III, Prince Harry, and Meghan Markle continue moving through one of the most closely watched family stories on Earth, one question now hangs over Buckingham Palace more than ever before. When the next chapter begins, who will control the narrative? And what happened next may change everything. What made the June 4th fallout so extraordinary was not simply the reaction from royal commentators, lifestyle critics, or even supporters of Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, because controversy alone has followed Meghan Markle and Prince Harry for years. What made this moment feel different was the speed, the intensity, and the unmistakable feeling that something far deeper had been triggered, as if one carefully crafted interview had suddenly reopened every unresolved tension between California reinvention and Buckingham Palace tradition, between public storytelling and institutional memory, between personal freedom and royal responsibility. And once that door opened, it did not close. Within hours of the broadcast, clips began circulating across platforms at a pace that surprised even veteran royal commentators, because audiences were no longer watching Meghan Markle simply as Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, and audiences were no longer hearing every statement as an isolated promotional soundbite. Instead, viewers were connecting every phrase, every expression, every carefully chosen comparison back to a much larger story involving Prince Harry, Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, King Charles III, and the evolving identity of the royal family itself. And this is where the emotional temperature began rising. Because while Meghan Markle appeared confident, polished, and completely in control of her new lifestyle narrative, many viewers quietly began comparing that performance to another public figure who almost never explains herself, almost never defends herself, and almost never enters public controversy: Catherine, Princess of Wales, known to millions around the world as Kate Middleton. That comparison changed everything. Because the moment Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, is placed beside Catherine, Princess of Wales, audiences are no longer comparing two personalities. Audiences are comparing two philosophies. On one side stands Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, representing reinvention, independence, global branding, and direct narrative control. On the other side stands Catherine, Princess of Wales, representing continuity, patience, discipline, and the slow accumulation of public trust built through years of service beside Prince William, the future king. So let me ask you something. In a world where everyone is trying to be seen, is true power found in visibility or in restraint? That question began dominating online discussion because Prince William, the future king, understands something that palace insiders have quietly discussed for years. Public affection is powerful, but institutional credibility is priceless. Prince William has spent decades preparing not simply to wear a crown, but to carry an institution older than modern politics, older than modern media, and older than almost every public brand now fighting for global attention. And Catherine, Princess of Wales, has become an essential part of that preparation. Royal commentators frequently point out that Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, do not simply attend engagements together, smile for cameras together, or represent the monarchy together. Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, embody something far more strategic, a carefully protected image of stability during a time when global audiences increasingly crave certainty. But something didn't add up. Because while Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, continue strengthening the image of royal continuity, Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, continues returning to the same emotional battlefield, whether intentionally or unintentionally, through interviews, documentaries, personal reflections, and brand positioning that repeatedly bring audiences back to one unavoidable question. Has Meghan Markle truly moved on from the monarchy? Or does the monarchy still define Meghan Markle's public identity? That question may be uncomfortable, but it refuses to disappear. Because every time Meghan Markle launches something new, whether it is media, wellness, advocacy, or lifestyle branding, the conversation somehow finds its way back to Prince Harry, back to Buckingham Palace, back to Prince William, and back to Catherine, Princess of Wales. And royal watchers have noticed. Some reports suggest that palace insiders privately view this as proof that royal association remains the most valuable currency in modern celebrity culture. Some commentators claim Prince Harry and Meghan Markle fully understand that connection. Others believe Prince Harry still struggles with the emotional cost of turning family pain into public narrative. But what would you believe? Do you think Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, still hopes for reconciliation with Prince William? Or has that bridge already burned beyond repair? That question carries enormous emotional weight, because Prince Harry and Prince William were once viewed as the strongest brotherhood inside the royal family. Following the loss of Princess Diana, the world watched Prince William and Prince Harry grow together, grieve together, serve together, and eventually represent what many believed would become a modern partnership at the heart of the monarchy. Then everything changed. Marriage, media, distance, interviews, books, accusations. And slowly, one of the most powerful brotherly relationships in modern public life became one of the most analyzed fractures in royal history. And now, every public move made by Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, every interview involving Prince Harry, and every carefully managed appearance by Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, is viewed through that emotional lens. But this is where the story becomes even more fascinating. Because while audiences often focus on Prince William and Prince Harry, palace observers have increasingly shifted attention toward King Charles III, the monarch carrying perhaps the most emotionally complicated role in this entire royal drama. King Charles III must protect the monarchy. King Charles III must protect succession. King Charles III must protect Buckingham Palace. And at the same time, King Charles III remains the father of Prince William and Prince Harry. That creates a conflict no media strategist could fully script. And according to some royal analysts, that conflict may be shaping every major decision happening behind palace walls. Think about that for a moment. If you were King Charles III, would you prioritize Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, because the institution depends on them? Or would you fight harder to rebuild trust with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, because family still matters? There is no easy answer. And perhaps that is exactly why this story continues captivating millions. Because beneath every headline, beneath every interview, beneath every carefully staged photograph, the real conflict may not be media versus monarchy. The real conflict may be family versus destiny. And this is where everything changes. Because while Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, continues building an independent public brand in California, Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, continue building something very different: legacy. Legacy is slower. Legacy is quieter. Legacy does not demand immediate applause. Legacy demands consistency. And few public figures understand that better than Catherine, Princess of Wales. For more than a decade, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has faced pressure, criticism, global scrutiny, invasive headlines, impossible comparisons, and relentless public expectations. Yet Catherine, Princess of Wales, has rarely chosen direct confrontation. Instead, Catherine, Princess of Wales, chooses presence. And in the age of constant explanation, that choice has become incredibly powerful. But what happened next raised even bigger questions. Because as June 4th continued dominating royal commentary, social media sentiment began shifting in ways few analysts expected. Discussions were no longer centered exclusively on Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, or even Prince Harry. Increasingly, audiences were talking about succession, about Prince William, about Catherine, Princess of Wales, about the future king, about the future queen, and about what the monarchy might look like once King Charles III eventually passes the full weight of history to the next generation. That conversation changes everything. Because when public attention moves from controversy to succession, every interview becomes political. Every brand move becomes strategic. Every family disagreement becomes institutional. And suddenly, what looked like lifestyle promotion begins looking like something much bigger. So let me ask you one more question. When history finally chooses its defining royal figures of this generation, will audiences remember Meghan Markle for reinvention? Will audiences remember Prince Harry for rebellion? Or will audiences remember Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, for quietly outlasting every storm? Because what's happening behind palace walls right now may be only the beginning. And what Prince William, the future king, reportedly discovered next could change the royal family forever. By the time the second wave of June 4th commentary began spreading across international media, something remarkable had already happened, because what started as another interview featuring Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, had quietly transformed into a much larger conversation about influence, legacy, and the invisible power structures shaping the future of the royal family. Yet behind the headlines, behind the clips, and behind the endless social media debates, palace observers began noticing a pattern that felt impossible to ignore. Every controversy surrounding Meghan Markle somehow seemed to strengthen the public image of Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, rather than weaken it. And that realization changed the entire conversation. Because for years, many analysts believed that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, had successfully created an alternative global platform powerful enough to operate independently from Buckingham Palace, independently from King Charles III, and independently from the institutional structure that had defined royal life for generations. Through interviews, documentaries, streaming deals, public speeches, and global appearances, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle appeared determined to build a new center of influence outside traditional royal boundaries. But something didn't add up. Because despite all of that visibility, despite all of that media power, and despite all of those carefully curated public moments, whenever major public trust surveys, royal popularity discussions, or succession conversations emerged, the names dominating those conversations remained remarkably consistent. Prince William, the future king. Catherine, Princess of Wales. And increasingly, the long-term stability of the monarchy itself. So let me ask you something. Can media visibility create influence? Or does real influence come from something much harder to manufacture? That question became impossible to ignore as commentators began comparing two completely different leadership models unfolding in real time. Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, continued building visibility through storytelling, interviews, and emotional transparency, while Prince William, the future king, continued building authority through institutional presence, controlled messaging, and carefully managed royal responsibility. And according to palace insiders, that difference may now be shaping the next chapter of succession itself. Because while Meghan Markle and Prince Harry continue living thousands of miles away in California, Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, remain physically, emotionally, and symbolically embedded inside the machinery of the monarchy. Every hospital visit, every diplomatic appearance, every public engagement, every charity event, every meeting behind palace doors reinforces one central message. Prince William is no longer preparing to lead. Prince William is already leading. And this is where everything changes. Because several royal commentators have quietly suggested that King Charles III may already be relying on Prince William more heavily than many people realize. Some reports suggest Prince William has taken on increasingly sensitive advisory responsibilities. Some reports claim Catherine, Princess of Wales now receives briefings that historically would have remained far from public view. And while Buckingham Palace rarely confirms internal operational details, the public symbolism has become increasingly difficult to miss. Prince William is everywhere. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is everywhere. And when a monarchy begins amplifying two figures that consistently, people notice. But what does that mean for Prince Harry? That question may be one of the most emotionally charged questions in modern royal storytelling, because Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, was once viewed as an essential part of Prince William's future leadership structure. Prince Harry brought charisma. Prince Harry brought relatability. Prince Harry brought military credibility, emotional openness, and a modern connection with younger audiences that many believed would strengthen the institution for decades. Then came separation. Then came distance. Then came interviews. Then came books. Then came allegations. And now the question is no longer whether Prince Harry and Prince William disagree. The real question is whether Prince William and Prince Harry still see the future the same way. And I want to ask you, if family loyalty clashes with institutional duty, which one should come first? Because for Prince William, the future king, this may no longer be a private emotional question. This may now be a constitutional question. And according to some palace commentators, that reality is exactly why Prince William's public demeanor has changed so noticeably over the last few years. Viewers who study royal appearances closely have pointed out that Prince William now appears more deliberate, more measured, and more visibly aware of every camera, every handshake, every statement, and every symbol surrounding his public role. That is not accidental. That is leadership under pressure. And standing beside Prince William through every stage of that transformation has been Catherine, Princess of Wales. But what makes Catherine, Princess of Wales, so fascinating is not simply popularity, beauty, or public elegance. What makes Catherine, Princess of Wales, so powerful is consistency. Because while headlines rise and fall, while controversies explode and disappear, and while media narratives constantly shift around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has remained remarkably unchanged in one critical way. Catherine, Princess of Wales, never appears desperate to be understood. And that may be one of the most powerful forms of public authority. Think about that. In a world where every celebrity explains, defends, posts, responds, clarifies, and rebrands, Catherine, Princess of Wales, simply appears. And millions watch. But something even more interesting began happening behind the scenes. Because as discussions around Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, continued dominating entertainment media, a separate conversation quietly began building among royal strategists, political observers, and palace historians. A conversation centered not around controversy, but around transition. Transition of power. Transition of visibility. Transition of institutional identity. And transition from King Charles III to Prince William, the future king. Some reports suggest that Buckingham Palace has been carefully adjusting public exposure patterns. Some analysts believe Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are being positioned more aggressively for international relevance. Some insiders claim King Charles III understands that the next era of monarchy must feel younger, stronger, and more emotionally connected to global audiences. And if those reports are even partially accurate, then every headline involving Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may now be creating unintended advantages for Prince William. Does that sound strategic to you? Or does that sound like history unfolding naturally? Because whether intentional or not, every controversy seems to create the same result. Prince William looks steadier. Catherine, Princess of Wales, looks stronger. The monarchy looks more unified. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle look increasingly outside the institution they once helped define. And this is where the emotional stakes become even higher. Because according to some commentators, Prince Harry may now face the most difficult identity conflict of his entire life. Not because Prince Harry lacks influence, not because Prince Harry lacks public recognition, and certainly not because Prince Harry lacks emotional honesty, but because Prince Harry may now be watching Prince William become exactly what both brothers once prepared for together. And that kind of emotional distance cannot be measured by headlines. That kind of emotional distance becomes history. So let me ask you something deeply personal. If you spent your entire childhood preparing beside someone for one shared future, and then watched that future continue without you, How would that feel? That may be the hidden emotional core of this entire royal drama. Not anger. Not branding. Not interviews. Not Netflix. Not palace leaks. But identity. Because Prince William, the future king, is moving closer to destiny every single day. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is moving closer to becoming queen. King Charles III is protecting the institution while managing personal family complexity. And Prince Harry and Meghan Markle continue building something new, while still being permanently connected to everything they left behind. And what happened next reportedly stunned even long-time palace observers. Because the latest internal shifts involving Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and Buckingham Palace may suggest that the transition is happening faster than anyone expected. And if that is true, then the next chapter may not be about reconciliation at all. The next chapter may be about succession. And what Prince William reportedly decided behind palace walls could redefine the monarchy for an entire generation. By the time the fourth wave of commentary began sweeping across international media, the story surrounding Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, had evolved far beyond celebrity branding, far beyond family tension, and far beyond the familiar cycle of royal headlines that audiences had grown used to over the last several years. What began as a carefully managed June 4th interview was now being discussed in political circles, media strategy forums, royal commentary channels, and even institutional leadership conversations, because for the first time in months, perhaps even years, people were no longer asking what Meghan Markle wanted the public to believe. People were starting to ask something far more dangerous. What if Buckingham Palace had already anticipated all of this? And that single question changed everything. Because if Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, had truly learned how modern media works, if King Charles III had truly spent years studying the emotional rhythm of public attention, and if Buckingham Palace had truly understood that controversy often burns itself out while consistency compounds over time, then every explosive interview, every emotional headline, and every viral moment involving Prince Harry and Meghan Markle may have been creating a very different outcome than many people expected. Not weakening the monarchy, strengthening it. And this is where the story becomes deeply strategic. Because palace observers began noticing a pattern that was almost mathematical in its consistency. Every time Prince Harry and Meghan Markle dominated headlines through documentaries, interviews, memoirs, or carefully positioned public appearances, public attention would spike dramatically, social media would explode with debate, and commentators would predict institutional damage. Yet weeks later, the same result kept appearing. Prince William, the future king, would step into a public engagement. Catherine, Princess of Wales, would appear beside Prince William. Crowds would gather. Public approval would rise. And the conversation would shift back toward duty, continuity, and the future of the monarchy. Coincidence? Or strategic patience? And I want to ask you something. When two completely different public strategies produce two completely different emotional reactions, which strategy survives longer? That question may explain why Prince William, the future king, has become increasingly fascinating to political observers, leadership analysts, and even global branding experts, because Prince William no longer appears to be reacting to headlines at all. Prince William appears to be playing a longer game. And according to some palace commentators, that long game may already be entering its most important phase. Because while Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, continues building visibility in California, Prince William continues building something that visibility alone cannot buy: institutional legitimacy. That word matters. Legitimacy. Because celebrity can be created. Virality can be manufactured. Narratives can be scripted. But legitimacy takes decades. And few people understand that better than King Charles III. Because King Charles III spent most of his adult life preparing for a role that demanded not popularity, not immediate applause, and certainly not instant approval, but endurance. King Charles III inherited an institution shaped by generations, traditions, wars, political transitions, global scrutiny, and relentless public expectation. And now, according to some royal analysts, King Charles III may be quietly preparing Prince William for the same burden far faster than many people realize. But something didn't add up. Because if King Charles III truly sees Prince William, the future king, as the next stabilizing force of the monarchy, then why are public appearances involving Prince William and Catherine Princess of Wales becoming more emotionally symbolic than ever before? Why are photographers capturing longer moments? Why are official appearances feeling more deliberate? Why do palace observers keep talking about transition energy? And perhaps most importantly, why does Catherine, Princess of Wales, now appear to carry the same quiet authority that once defined only senior royals? That question may be more important than most people realize. Because Catherine, Princess of Wales, has undergone one of the most remarkable transformations in modern royal history. Kate Middleton entered public life as a university student who suddenly found herself under global scrutiny, intense media pressure, and endless comparison. Yet over time, Catherine, Princess of Wales, did something very few public figures ever managed to accomplish. Catherine, Princess of Wales, became trusted. Not trendy. Not viral. Trusted. And in a world dominated by algorithms, controversy, and short attention spans, trust may be the rarest currency of all. So let me ask you, if you had to choose between being talked about everywhere or being quietly trusted by millions, which one would matter more? That question may sit at the center of why Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, continue gaining momentum, while public attention around Prince Harry and Meghan Markle remains emotionally intense but increasingly unpredictable. Because Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, remains one of the most emotionally compelling figures in the entire royal family. Prince Harry carries history, military service, public vulnerability, personal grief, and the complicated legacy of being the younger son of Princess Diana. And yet Prince Harry now faces an emotional reality few people ever fully discuss. Prince Harry may no longer be competing with Prince William. Prince Harry may now be competing with history itself. Because every year that passes, every public duty performed by Prince William, every international engagement attended by Catherine, Princess of Wales, every symbolic appearance alongside King Charles III adds another layer to a future that Prince Harry once stood beside. And that creates a kind of emotional distance that no interview can fully explain. But what happened next raised even bigger questions. Because according to several royal commentators, private conversations about succession have reportedly become more urgent than ever before. Some reports suggest palace advisors are increasingly focused on generational transition. Some observers believe Prince William has already begun shaping long-term priorities for the next era of royal leadership. And if those reports are even partially accurate, then Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, may be fighting for public relevance at the exact moment Prince William is preparing for historical permanence. That difference changes everything. Because one strategy fights for attention. The other strategy prepares for legacy. And legacy always moves slower. But legacy also lasts longer. And nowhere is that more visible than in the growing public image of Catherine, Princess of Wales. Kate Middleton no longer appears simply as Prince William's partner, no longer simply as a beloved royal figure, and no longer simply as a public favorite. Catherine, Princess of Wales, now increasingly looks like a future queen. And audiences feel that shift. Photographers feel that shift. Commentators feel that shift. Even critics feel that shift. And once public perception begins moving in that direction, history often moves faster than headlines. So here's the question nobody inside Buckingham Palace may be asking publicly, but everyone outside Buckingham Palace is quietly wondering. When King Charles III eventually passes the full symbolic weight of the crown to Prince William, the future king, what role, if any, will remain for Prince Harry? And what does Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, truly want when that moment finally arrives? Because if June 4th taught royal observers anything, it's that this story was never just about branding, never just about interviews, never just about headlines. This story has always been about power. Power inside family, power inside legacy, power inside memory. And what Prince William reportedly began preparing behind palace walls after this latest wave of controversy may be the most consequential royal decision of an entire generation. As the dust from the June 4th controversy continued settling across global media, one final realization began emerging from inside royal commentary circles, and for many longtime observers of Buckingham Palace, that realization felt bigger than Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, bigger than Prince Harry, bigger than a single interview, and even bigger than the emotional headlines that had dominated public attention for days. Because after the reactions, after the debates, After the clips, after the analysis, and after the endless comparisons, one uncomfortable truth remains standing above everything else. History was already moving forward, whether every member of the royal family was ready for that reality or not. And that truth may explain why Prince William, the future king, appears calmer than ever. Because while Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, continues building visibility through reinvention, branding, and emotional storytelling, and while Prince Harry continues navigating the difficult emotional space between personal freedom and royal legacy, Prince William, the future king, appears to be focused on something very different: inheritance, responsibility, and the kind of leadership that is measured not in headlines, but in generations. And this is where the final chapter becomes deeply personal. Because behind the polished photographs, behind the official engagements, and behind every carefully staged balcony appearance, Prince William is not simply preparing to wear a crown. Prince William is preparing to carry history. And standing beside Prince William through every stage of that transformation is Catherine, Princess of Wales, the woman millions still know as Kate Middleton, but the woman who increasingly looks less like a public figure and more like the emotional center of the monarchy's future. And I want to ask you something. Can public affection create a queen? Or does true queenship come from surviving years of pressure without ever needing to explain yourself? That question may explain why Catherine, Princess of Wales, continues holding extraordinary emotional power with audiences across the United Kingdom, across Australia, across Canada, and across countless royal watchers around the world. Catherine, Princess of Wales, has never needed explosive interviews. Catherine, Princess of Wales, has never needed public rebuttals. Catherine, Princess of Wales, has never needed dramatic reinvention. Instead, Catherine, Princess of Wales, has built trust the slow way. And in an age where attention disappears overnight, that may be the most powerful strategy of all. But something even more significant may now be unfolding behind palace walls. Because several royal commentators have quietly suggested that King Charles III understands something many viewers are only now beginning to recognize. Succession is no longer a distant concept. Succession is becoming visible. Every appearance featuring King Charles III and Prince William. Every carefully timed engagement featuring Catherine, Princess of Wales. Every symbolic family photograph. Every state moment. Every diplomatic appearance. Every public gesture. All of it may be telling the same story. The transition has already begun. And if that is true, then Prince Harry may now be facing the most emotionally difficult chapter of all. Because Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, is not simply watching Prince William, the future king, rise inside Buckingham Palace. Prince Harry may now be watching a shared childhood dream become someone else's permanent destiny. And that kind of emotional distance cannot be repaired by headlines. That kind of emotional distance becomes legacy. So let me ask you something deeply human. If you walked away from the institution that shaped your entire identity, and then watched your brother inherit everything you once stood beside, would you feel freedom or regret? That question may remain one of the deepest unanswered questions in modern royal history. Because Prince Harry still carries enormous public affection. Prince Harry still carries the legacy of military service, emotional honesty, and the memory of being the younger son of Princess Diana. Yet public affection alone cannot rewrite constitutional reality. And constitutional reality now points in one clear direction: Prince William, Catherine, Princess of Wales, and the next era of the monarchy. But what about Meghan Markle? That may be the most fascinating question of all. Because Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, has built one of the most discussed public identities of the modern era, transforming from actress, to royal bride, to global media figure, to independent brand architect. Some reports suggest Meghan Markle still believes public narrative can reshape legacy. Some commentators believe Meghan Markle understands better than almost anyone that perception can become power. But history operates differently. History does not always reward the loudest voice. History often rewards the most consistent presence. And right now, that consistency belongs to Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales. And this is where everything comes full circle. Because what began on June 4th as a seemingly harmless lifestyle conversation involving Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, may ultimately be remembered for something completely different. Not for the headlines, not for the controversy, not even for the online debates. But for the moment, millions of viewers quietly realized that the center of royal gravity had already shifted. Not to California. Not to streaming platforms. Not to brand partnerships. But back to Buckingham Palace. Back to King Charles III. Back to Prince William, the future king. And back to Catherine, Princess of Wales. So here is the question that may define the next decade of royal history. When the crown finally moves forward, when Prince William becomes king, when Catherine, Princess of Wales, becomes queen, and when the next generation officially takes control of the monarchy, where will Prince Harry stand? Where will Meghan Markle stand? And perhaps most importantly, will reconciliation still be possible? Or has history already chosen its side? That is the question the world will keep watching. And now I want to hear from you. Do you believe Prince William, the future king, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, are already leading the future of the royal family? Or do you believe Prince Harry and Meghan Markle still have a bigger role to play in the monarchy's next chapter? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this conversation is far from over. And if you enjoy deep royal analysis, powerful palace stories, and the hidden dynamics shaping the future of the monarchy, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and join us for the next chapter. Because what's happening behind Buckingham Palace right now may be bigger than anyone realizes.